Welcome to the 321. 3 minutes, 2 questions, 1 interview, no script. Today it brings me great pleasure to be here with Duncan Ward of Classroom of Hope. Duncan, it's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for taking time out. I know you're in the country only for a few days, so it's fantastic. Right, the format of the 321 is the first minute is about yourself, but we're going to cheat a little bit here because we can. So you're going to tell me a minute about yourself and I'll get the timer going, and then you're going to tell me a minute about the charity that you founded, and away you go. So a minute about yourself.
My name is Duncan Ward. I'm the founder of Classroom of Hope, and I'm blessed with a beautiful wife, Nicola Courtin, who's also a co-founder of Classroom of Hope and our creative director, and a beautiful daughter named Aura. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Cape Town, South Africa, and I spent half my life growing up there and the other half living across the globe, but the majority of time living in Australia. And my background is, I started off working as a network engineer and a background also in management consulting, and then moved into the not-for-profit sector, where I worked at the Funding Network, and then full-time into Classroom of Hope, which is an Australian registered charity.
Okay, and you work alongside your wife in the charity?
Side by side.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, and your daughter was born in, I can hear her.
Yes.
In the background there?
Yeah, she was born in Bali, in Ubud.
Yeah. What is Classroom of Hope? What does it do? And just tell the world what it's about.
Right. Classroom of Hope exists to help children unleash their greatness through life-changing education. And our purpose is to provide access to quality education to children in developing countries. And how we do that is by partnering with best practice local NGOs to implement education programs like developing child-friendly schools, building brand new schools with toilets and clean water facilities, and also distribution of scholarships in countries like Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Rwanda, and Indonesia.
Okay. Now we cross paths, obviously, because for people that don't know, I've been involved in a fundraising for part of the team here in Perth, and I was introduced to the great work that Classroom of Hope does. And we met obviously last week for the first time. It's fantastic, and we said we've got to get you on camera, but I'm keen to know more about the story about what Classroom of Hope and how it was created and what the story is. So it's 60 seconds on that. So tell me the backstory. How did it start?
Sure. So Classroom of Hope was actually born out of a tragedy. My brother passed away quite tragically in South Africa, and that made me look at my own life and realise, what am I doing for the planet and for people? And I was living quite selfishly, not doing anything. So I made some dramatic changes in my life where I went travelling and quit my job with an intention of trying to find a bit more purpose and meaning for myself. Along that journey, I met an incredibly inspiring man in Cambodia who had survived the Pol Pot regime as an ex-child slave, who had started this small local NGO doing amazing work, and he had this dream of developing these 7 primary schools, and he took me and showed me around, and in my search for a bit more purpose, I promised him that I'd come back and help him redevelop those 7 schools. And out of that, Classroom of Hope was born, and then I put my management consultant hat on and started doing all the research to understand, well, what are the different charitable and not-for-profit business models out there, and how do I set this up?
Yeah. Okay. So how do you set it up? And we're going to cheat just a little bit. So how did you set it up?
Sure. So firstly, I started researching who are those that are out there where I want to be.
Right.
So who are the entrepreneurs who've already set up not-for-profits, and some of them like the likes of Scott Harrison, Charity Water, Adam Braun, Pencils of Promise, and I started reading all of their books, learning about their challenges and their journeys. And out of that, I learned a lot, and then also researched the different business models within Australia, and sought some advice as well through some of my mentors, and then got it incorporated and started seeking out the local NGO partners in Cambodia to form this joint venture with Racky and his organisation.
So the advice there for anyone else that's thinking the same is to surround yourself and learn from others that have done it.
100%.
Yeah, however you can do that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So a last minute, and just one thing that you can talk about that you've learned about yourself by being in these places in like Cambodia and all of these obviously poverty-stricken places. What have you learned about yourself and maybe the people on this earth over that journey? You've been in Classroom of Hope now 6 years,
Yes.
6.5 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so a minute there, bit of a deeper one, but there you go.
One thing I've learned is that probably the greatest issue that's facing the world at the moment is the lack of equity and wealth sharing across the globe. With 1% of the world, earning the majority of the assets across the globe, and we have countries across Africa and Asia where people are starving, people don't have access to clean water, people don't have access to education. We have the means to resolve this, but I truly believe that what I've learned through visiting all these cultures and these people is that we need to help and give back and provide them with access to everything that we maybe take for granted in the Western world. So, yeah.
No, it's an interesting one because I've on this journey the last, say, year myself, questioning what is legacy and what does legacy mean to me and what difference can I make on this planet. And it's interesting. You're in these, yourself, you go into these villages, but you see happiness, right? You see happiness in these villages, and what we would see in. I'm assuming you'd still see happiness, and not necessarily the stresses that we have in the Western world as such.
I mean, traveling through Rwanda, Cambodia, Indonesia, when we go into these rural villages, it's probably the first thing we always see is the big smiles on the kids' faces. So you can certainly see happiness in the simplicity of how they're living as well.
Excellent. Right, Duncan, it's been absolutely fantastic. All right.
Thank you so much, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. This has been the 3, 2, 1. Speak to you soon. And just along the comments here, there will be a link to the amazing work that Classroom of Hope does. So look into it. Thank you. Bye.
30, if we can resolve the UN global goal of quality education. And then started growing the organisation and wanting to get it sustainable.
So then you quit your 9 to 5 and...
I worked both jobs for 3 years. And then after 3 years I went full time, but had to leave Australia to go live in Bali because we couldn't afford to live here. So and then I met Nicola on that journey as well. Who was an ex-journo. She wanted to report on stories of kids.
Right.
So we just combined forces and have been scaling the organisation since then.
Okay.
Funny where life takes you.
Yeah.
The greatest thing that came out of my brother's death was I found my life's purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for that, and I built a school in honour of him.